Minecraft has hundreds of insane bridging methods for players to use, with each ranging in speed, difficulty, and popularity, but what if I told you that there was an insanely useful secret bridging method that almost no players even know about? In today's video, I'm going to share some of the craziest and most underrated bridging techniques out there, so if you guys do end up enjoying today's video, please do consider subscribing, but with that being said, let's get into it. The first insane and secret bridging method I'll be showing you today is the one stack that blocks off your opponents as you bridge upwards. This method is known as the extended one stack, and it was invented by my friend Demavo, and it's absolutely insane. You see, the regular one stack in Minecraft moves in a diagonal pattern, and in many multiplayer games such as bedwars, this method is used to go upwards really fast or to get away from your opponents. The biggest flaw here is that if you're bridging away with one stack from somebody and they're running along your bridge that you're building, they'll be able to catch up to you pretty quickly and then kill you by knocking you into the void. With the extended one stack method, however, you're able to block off your opponents as you bridge by building 2-block high barriers every time you go up, which makes it much more difficult for them to follow you and they won't be able to catch up. To perform this method, all you have to do is a regular one stack, except between each time you go upwards, you're going to be changing your aim between looking higher and lower. That way you're able to alternate which blocks are placed first, and this is how you create the pattern that will block off your opponents as you go upwards. That way they can't catch up to you like they would with your regular one stack. I would like to point out that this is more of a variation of the one stack as opposed to an entirely new bridging method. Its unique pattern and its ability to block off your opponents are super useful, and it is a great method I would recommend implementing into your bedwars gameplay. To put this method to the real test, I decided to see if it would counter two different bedwars utilities, with these being both blocks and ladders. As you can see, I'm able to get away in both of these scenarios, and my opponents were nowhere near able to hit me. As with a lot of the other methods I'll be talking about in today's video, the method is a little bit easier with drag clicking, but it can be done with any clicking method pretty much. It just takes a little bit of practice to get used to it, and it does take a little bit longer to get consistent. Because the extended one stack is simply just a variation of the regular one stack, you are able to mix them both together into the same bridge. For example, say you're doing a regular one stack to get away from somebody, but then you notice they start climbing up your bridge, then you're able to shift into the extended one stack to make sure that you get away from them safely, because you're blocking them off as they're trying to chase you. This can be very helpful because it means that you don't need to start off your bridge by setting up for the extended one stack, and instead you can use it whenever you feel it's necessary, as opposed to doing it at all times. The extended one stack, just like a regular one stack, is also possible to do diagonally. To be honest, I'm not very sure of where you'd need to use an extended one stack diagonally, but it's definitely good to know that it's possible, and it does really work well for blocking off your opponents. Another insanely good method you can be implementing into your bedwars gameplay is the ego bridge. The ego bridge is a somewhat unknown technique of bridging that allows you to mix a godbridge with a regular speed bridge. It's a great middle ground for those who can't consistently godbridge, but those who want something a little bit faster than your average speed bridge. In order to perform the ego bridge, you're going to godbridge 3 blocks before hitting shift, and then repeating this over and over again, and because you're placing 3 blocks in a row without shifting, this method is going to be faster than most players' speed bridges. Ego bridging can be complicated to pull off, as the shift throws off the timing that most god bridges normally use. Instead of doing this, the easiest way to pull off the method is by aiming close to the top of the block and doing a really long drag to place the 3 unshifted blocks, and after that, of course, you shift again. This method is also possible using pretty much every single clicking method out there, but it just takes a bit more practice, as drag clicking is probably the most intuitive one to use. In many respects, the ego bridge can be compared to the moonwalk. In terms of speed and all that kind of stuff, it is very similar, but the one big thing that ego bridging allows you to do is shift every 3 blocks, which means that it's a little bit safer and you're less likely to fall in the void. This really does come down to practice though, because the 3 blocks you're placing unshifted are still pretty inconsistent when you're first starting out with this method, but over time you will start to see it a little bit more consistently, and it may even become better than moonwalk. The next underrated method I'd like to talk about is a controversial one. It is diagonal god bridging. There are 2 main types of diagonal god bridging, the only difference being which clicking method is used, and one of these is vastly easier than the other. The most popular but more difficult method uses timed short drag clicks, which allow for a flat and very fast diagonal god bridge. On the other hand, the much easier strategy uses long drag clicking, which means that the method is a lot less skill based but still very fast. Because this strategy uses long drag clicking, you want to make sure that you jump each time you reset your drag click to ensure that you don't fall. Some players are able to hold a long drag click for several seconds at a time, meaning that their long drag click diagonal god bridge would be pretty similar to that of a regular short drag click diagonal, but then again they still would have to reset with a jump. The extra jumps do make this method a little bit slower, but it is still very fast overall, especially compared to a standard diagonal speed bridge. This can be implemented very well into certain modes like bedwars, where you can diagonal rush to diamond generator or even diagonal rush your opponents. Diagonal god bridging with long drag clicking can definitely be very good and fairly consistent, but the thing is that because you're doing a long drag click every time you jump or when you're bridging in general, you tend to waste a lot more blocks because the long drag click is way less accurate, and because of all the excess blocks you might be placing, you might not be able to reach the diamond generator or whatever your end goal really is with the diagonal god bridge, and that'll just cause you to fall in the void. But with that being said, that is going to be all of the underrated bridging methods I believe you should be implementing into your gameplay. So if you guys did end up enjoying today's video, please do consider subscribing, as it really does help out so much. But with that being said, that is going to do it. So I really do hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys soon. Goodbye.